Welcome to season two, the autumn, episode 12, Wise Words. So here we are with our second season of Patroma Therapy. And what we're trying to do is just share some insights and ideas and discover things ourselves about life and literature and travel and books and see if we can gain any wisdom. So you'll see on our cover shot some owls, and owls have been associated traditionally with wisdom. The Greek goddess Athena was depicted sometimes as having an owl on her shoulder. So, are you feeling wise today,
Um,
my co therapist?
Not particularly, no. No. Again, de- define wise, right? Can you just expand on this word? What do you mean wise?
Well,
Streetwise, or like you read lots of books?
I whenever I think of the word wise, I always think of the Greek play Oedipus Rex or Oedipus the King. And there's a famous line in there that wisdom comes through suffering. So, like, I'm kind of a bit of a fatalist and I like pensive, depressing things and people.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
Now
mean,
I
I'm more
asked you.
meditative. So,
Uh,
yeah, so to me, wisdom comes through suffering. That's what I always think. Like, a person who I could consider wise, like maybe a priest at a church or some person that has lived a while. I mean, that there's that wisdom always for me. I've noticed as I explore more that wisdom comes through some kind of suffering or difficult challenge that they got through.
oh, well, look at the bright side. I consider I consider there is this TV series called Simpsons Family. I guess it's the cartoons actually, and there is
Yeah.
the character in it called Homer, my favorite one, and I
Yes.
think he spreads lots of wisdom, words of wisdom around. When I watched it a few years ago, I remember a few quotes of it. Still remember a few quotes. Like he said, "You tried." He says to his son, I guess, he said, "You tried your best and failed miserably, and the lesson is never try." That may sound like not serious, but I think there is a wisdom. There is wisdom in it. But on a more serious note, they
No.
say that
Well,
mom.
hang on. This like yeah that is a like it's like an ironic twist. Like he's of course we should try, but it's kind of like poking fun of the fact that we try and we're not always successful. And the name Homer, whoever thought up the name Homer for him is Homer is of course the supposed author of the Odyssey and the Iliad. So
Mm.
like this goes back to some of our ideas about the Greek myths. That's a good one. So you say that quote again, like miserably tried
Well,
miserably.
yeah, you tried your best and failed miserably, and the lesson is never try. I think it's very Zen like, because Zen is
Oh,
very about humor and also serious, and you have to be, you just have to be something more, a little bit more than just intellectual. It takes something else. But on a more serious note, they say that where did you get your pearls of wisdom? Mostly from your parents and grandmothers, I don't know, fathers. I remember when I was a child, like my grandmother always told me, like, never take sweets from strangers or think. Do you consider that as wisdom?
okay. Well, you mean the wisdom of our elders? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like that saying when in Russian, she was probably saying like, "Don't be tempted by strangers. Be a bit careful." And the easiest temptation for a child might be candies, but yeah, my uncle who passed away a couple years ago, he once shared some wisdom with me, and he said that his grandmother had told him this, and the grandmother spoke in Spanish to him, but the translation in English is something like, uh, "Be careful of the words you speak. Like little birds, once they leave your mouth, you never know where they will land."
Mm. Yeah, we have the equivalent in Russian language too.
How does it sound in
That
how
the
does
world is not a sparrow. Once it's gotten away, you can't catch it back.
right?
Or
Well, that's
also,
interesting. Different cultures. What else?
yeah, like practice makes perfect. And I don't know if you were like if you somehow had a chance to give yourself like your uh, when to your 20s, okay, to give yourself when you were 20 years old some kind of an advice, would what would that be?
Oh, you mean me from the perspective of now, looking
Mm-hmm.
back when I was a young woman,
Mm-hmm.
if I could give some advice
Right.
to that person? Well, what I would say is, girl, you should have listened to your mother. Your mother told you that the purpose of college was to go to school and meet a man who's a rich rancher. And I thought the purpose of college was to learn and to explore and to go on adventures. But, if I had listened to the wisdom of my mother, I'd be sitting on a big horse ranch in Texas, just looking out at the blue bonnets. And, it's interesting. Like, we can't go back and change the past. But at the time, I thought my mother was ridiculous. I thought, what do you mean? Go to college to meet a man? I'm going to college to learn. And now I'm suffering. what what would you now I'm in patroma therapy. What
Right.
kind of words of advice would you give to your young self at 18, 19, 20?
It's funny, I've given it a thought recently, and I couldn't find the answer until today. Maybe today I would say no, the word no, more often, and take care of your body more. I thought that my health supply was infinite at the time, like, but now I understand that was
Oh
not the
yeah.
case. So I don't know really. I don't
No,
really
that
know.
I have heard the idea of no. Someone said that you should give yourself the gift of no, that every time somebody wants or needs something, every time you don't have to say yes and deplete your resources or supplies or your personal energy, that it's okay to say no. And um, I think during this, coronavirus time, there are people that still invite me to do this or want me to do that. And I'm just thinking, no, I'm going to care about myself enough not to fly on a plane and go to Wyoming and see the,
Yeah,
Yosemite National Park. I mean, like the gift of no. That's a good one. I like
absolutely,
that one.
absolutely. Um, I don't know. Although there are many people considered to be wise, and Albert Einstein, I always remember his saying that imagination is more powerful than knowledge. Um,
Hmm.
but then again, maybe I misunderstood it because it's not my native language.
Well, that's pretty.
Speaking of which, I remember another quote from Simpson, Homer Simpson, and he said like, "Why should I learn English? I'm never going to England." And I laughed at the time.
Right, right. Well, you spoke earlier about street talk, street wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom out on the street. There's a lot of people who don't have a formal education, but they have learned from the school of hard knocks. They've learned something about life and who to trust and what to do. I was thinking about a collection of thoughts by he was a philosopher, a mathematician, uh, Pascal, and Pascal's triangle. But he had a collection called Les Pensées, which just means the thoughts, where he collected his thoughts. And there's a lot of them that are very famous that people look to today. And one of his famous ones is that man is like a reed grows in the water,
Hmm.
like bamboo or something like that. And he says man is but a reed, the weakest thing in nature. It takes but a drop of water to kill him. But man is more noble than the universe who kills him because man knows that man knows that he dies.
Mm.
Like that's like just so amazing. Like just being aware that you're going to die. Like I just think that's,
Well, that's a
I mean,
bit
I'm going to get a
depression.
tattoo that says that. No, it's great.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
like it. I don't know. I mean, you said that you had recently read some of the Confessions by Tolstoy, where he was trying to pull together some wisdom. How did that go?
oh, I have read it, and with all due respect, he's a genius, but I think that uh, he couldn't find the meaning of life. Maybe because I don't know why. I read it somewhere, another word of wisdom. The meaning of life is the life of meaning. How does that work?
Oh, that sounds good. Let's get tattoos that say that. Yeah, let's make We're going to make Patroma therapy candles with Patroma therapy sayings on it. We're going to have temporary tattoos that you can buy. It's going to be awesome. I'm in charge of like production.
Oh,
No, I mean
absolutely.
we're kind of making fun of this, but really, I think you know people who are artists, musicians, sports people, like they want to find a life that has some meaning. And Tolstoy, I think, found quite a bit of meaning in the act of writing. And I enjoy writing. I enjoy writing poems and stories, and I think maybe some of our listeners, some of the subscribers, I know some of them are writers and some of them are musicians and some of them are photographers. So maybe just getting out there in the world and doing something, ride your skateboard, take your photographs, write something about art. Those could be positive things.
Absolutely. And we have to deal with stress, with all these happenings happening with COVID and stuff and pandemic. Just another word of advice on dealing with stress. It's like suck it up.
Well, I thought your words of advice were soldier up.
That one too.
Well, there was a very special wisdom figure in my life at this church that I have belonged to. And I would go in there for some counseling, off and on, and just kind of shoot the bull with him and chit chat. And, usually I would go there and like lay my worries and my woes at his table or his desk. And he would just kind of, put his hand to his chin and he would tell me something like, tell me what's right about this, or tell me what's good about this. And that would like completely change my perspective. Like I would go in there and just list problem after problem after problem. And then he would kind of like switch the tables and ask me to look at how this could possibly be a good thing. Like, does that sound like wisdom to you?
Absolutely.
How would you apply that in your life?
I wouldn't.
What do you mean? What do you mean you wouldn't?
Listen, we are 13 minutes through. I think we should wrap it up somehow. Would you like to do it?
Yes, I would like to say to please wise owls and see what kind of wisdom they might be speaking to you.
The line
Goodbye.
broke up. Could you repeat that, please?
I would suggest that we look at the cover shot of those owls and maybe see what wisdom they might be speaking to you or
Wonderful.
me. Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.